And the big race coming up, the Cox Plate, the 65th of the series. And it does look to be a battle between the two New Zealanders who have come across the Tasman to decide at Moonee Valley the champion of Australasia, Bonecrusher and our Waverley Star. Bonecrusher is now at odds on. He's 10-9 on for the win. Our Waverley Star is round the 3-1 chance. And then you get out to about 10-1. Others engaged in the race, Drought and Tristram and Society Bay. Bonecrusher, a magnificent looking animal, as you can see there. He's had 4 starts in Australia. He's won them all. And today he races to the $1.5 million mark if he can take out the Cox Plate. And more than 50% of the crowd here today say he will. That's drawn with Pat Hyland in the saddle. That's our Waverley Star in the yellow and green. There he is, big, lean, typical New Zealand horse, great horse, there's no doubt about that. There he is, Roman Artist, owned by Russell Hinds, the Minister for Racing from Queensland. Our Waverley Star, of course, as we know him over here, with the Our or My having to be put in front of their names. So the runners are getting ready, and they're moving into the stalls now for the running of the W.S Cox Plate. They're moving up quite well. Bonecrusher has gone into his position, 2,040 metres, a run of only a couple of 100 metres to the first turn. Dandy Andy the inside from the Filbert. Imprimatur, drawn, Marchiquita. A little wider out, Drought, Tristram, Bonecrusher. He's been on his toes a little bit, Bonecrusher. Dinky Flyer, our Waverley Star, Roman Artist, who probably will be one of the pacemakers. We should see a reasonable pace in this race. He's gone in. Society Bay comes up. And Aberetti's going to be the last one in for the W.S Cox Plate. Aberetti comes up. They're all ready. Lights on. Roman Artist toey, so is Imprimatur. Settles. This is it, they're racing. Imprimatur away very quickly over near the rails with Society Bay. Drought has begun well also. Now let's have a look where Bonecrusher is back behind them at the rear as they settle down, trying to get near the fence, and our Waverley Star's caught deep. Roman Artist and Dandy Andy took them out of the straight, a length and a half. Imprimatur and Society Bay deep. They were followed then by, in the centre of that bunch, Marchiquita drawn the rails. 2 lengths further back, the Filbert and Drought, a length to Waverley, our Waverley Star, who's still wide. 2.5 lengths then to Bonecrusher, followed by Dinky Flyer, Aberetti, and last of all, Tristram. At the 1400, Roman Artist, a length and a half in front now from Dandy Andy and Society Bay the outside. A length to Marchiquita and a length and a half drawn, tucked in on the fence from Imprimatur. Our Waverley Star still 3 deep in the race, and on the rails the Filbert and Drought the centre. 2 lengths to Aberetti, Bonecrusher on its inside, 2 to Dinky Flyer and a length to Tristram. They've got 1100 to go. Roman Artist cutting out a fair pace, out a length and a half. Society Bay clear second now. On the rails, Dandy Andy and a half length to Marchiquita. 2 lengths to Drawn, having a good run from Imprimatur. Our Waverley Star will want to be far up. Here's Bonecrusher. He's pulled him to the outside, shooting around them, and our Waverley Star's going with it. Aberetti at the head of the others with Drought, Dinky Flyer, the Filbert and Tristram. Here come the New Zealanders, our Waverley Star and Bonecrusher. They've raced to the lead, 600 out. Have they gone too early? 2 lengths to Drought, running up the third from Society Bay. They were followed then by Drawn under the whip at the head of the others, Dinky Flyer. But our Waverley Star, he got a half length to Bonecrusher. He's gone for the whip on Bonecrusher. 3 lengths to Drought, followed then by Dinky Flyer and Drawn. But the 2 great New Zealanders have come away on the turn. Our Waverley Star, a half-length Bonecrusher. The big red won't give in. Drought running on. Bonecrusher responds to the whip. The roars of the crowd. He races up to our Waverley Star. 100 out. Bonecrusher, our Waverley Star. Stride for stride. Nothing in it. Our Waverley Star, the rails. Bonecrusher, the outside. And Bonecrusher races into equine immortality. $1.5 million as he photo finishes our Waverley Star. Third is the Filbert, followed by Drought. Next is Dandy Andy, followed behind them by Dinky Flyer. Then Tristram, Marchiquita, Aberetti, Drawn, Society Bay, Imprimatur and Roman Artist. The crowd is roaring its head off. The judges call for the photo. These 2 giants from New Zealand Bonecrusher and our Waverley Star. Fortunes fluctuating. They've gone to the post in a photo. What a dream finish. And Bonecrusher has won it, you'll find, on the outside by the narrowest of margins. And you just can't take anything away from either of these horses. Our Waverley Star was 3 wide until it took the lead at the 600-metre mark. Bonecrusher was under the whip at the 500 and our Waverley Star ran away from him. But he came again, and number 2 is in the frame. The Big Red, and he's earned the title today. Number 2, Bonecrusher, ridden by G.M. Stewart, is first. Number 3, our Waverley Star, L. O'Sullivan, second. Number 1, the Filbert, G. Murphy, was third. So it's New Zealand, New Zealand, New Zealand. 4th, Dandy Andy, bred in New Zealand. And 5th, Drought, bred in New Zealand. By gee, they might as well run some of these races over there, save them taking the cup back. After the running of the Cox Plate, the numbers 2, 3 and 1. On the Victorian tote, Bonecrusher should pay 95 cents to win 60 a place. Our Waverley Star, 85 cents. The Filbert, $4.15. Oh, what a race. What a race it was. Our Waverley Star, trapped 3 deep all the way. Ran to the lead. Bonecrusher's rider, Stewart, eased back in the straight to get about 1 off the fence and then onto the rails. He made his move at the 1,000. Our Waverley Star went with him. They charged past the field at the 600. You wouldn't expect them to be able to keep going, making their run that far from the winning post. But keep going they did, and an ecstatic, a wildly ecstatic crowd started cheering at the 600. They haven't stopped yet as Bonecrusher comes back to scale. The winner, number 2, Bonecrusher, trained by F.T. Ritchie, who has him at Epsom now, ridden by G.M. Stewart, a magnificent W.S Cox Plate winner. The time for the race, 2:7.2. Our Waverley Star, certainly not disgraced, ridden by L. O'Sullivan, by Starway from Super Show, trained by D. O'Sullivan, ridden by L. O'Sullivan. For running second, he collects a cool $148,800. And third placing to number 1, the Filbert. Ran a great race in it last year, remember, and he's run a great race again this year to get up and get third money. They've run the last 800 metres in 52.3. That was where the leader was at that stage, to the winner getting to the line. Remembering that Bonecrusher and our Waverley Star were probably at the 800. They'd be back about 7th or 8th, so they'd be about 5 or 6 lengths off the lead. So that could be deducted from that time. And it's no wonder everything got tired in the run to the post, because it was on from before the 600 metre where they raced to the lead. It was on. Horses that looked to be going okay were suddenly going up and down the one spot, couldn't lengthen their stride at all. And this crowd, the Quinella, it was a popular Quinella here in Victoria, $1.35 it's paid, the Quinella. But you know, we all of us in the press have given this race a tremendous build-up. A lot of people might say a lot of it was ballyhoo, but we really have believed that these two were going to have a magnificent race. But probably no one in their wildest dreams would thought it would turn out the way it has. Not only was it a great race, but they've charged past the field at the 600. They've gone, well, not stride for stride, because our Waverley Star looked to have Bonecrusher well beaten about 400 out. But then he came again. He looked like winning at the top of the straight. Our Waverley Star grabbed him, and they've gone to the line in a photo finish. You know, you just really almost can't believe it. And there's correct weight up for 2, 3 and 1. Correct weight. Dandy Andy's run 4th. How about that? And 5th placing has gone to Drought. Well, that's the situation here at Moonee Valley with correct weight up. And we'll take this opportunity of saying farewell to our friends on Radio Pacific and also to TV New Zealand. Hope you've enjoyed the description and the telecast, and we'll be back with Grandstand in just a moment.
This racing coverage has been presented in association with Red Bins and the TAB.